Welcome to the Mother-Daughter-ish podcast. It's your mama's favorite podcast.
And the podcast your daughter always wanted.
This is Miss Dawn.
And Angelique.
From the 713. Houston, y'all. Get connected and stay connected weekly as new shows debut on Sunday, Wednesday, and please check out our Saturday Out and About showcases.
Enjoy the show. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, and tell every woman on the planet that you know about our show.
Here's our show for today. Today I have a fantastic guest, and I'm just so excited that we are able to connect and that I can share what she does in her business, which is just so amazing. I love it because it's really geared toward financial freedom, and that is just something that really attracts me. And I have Siobhan MCAULEY. She is a highly respected spiritual teacher and the leader of the Meaning Maker movement. Isn't that an amazing name? The Meaning Maker movement. And I'm going to ask her as we get into this conversation how she came up with that name. But she teaches meaning-driven women how to activate their wealth potential by learning how to master their relationship to money and power. Welcome to Stuck on Miss Dawn.
Thanks, Dawn. Happy to be here.
Good. So what it sounds to me like with that intro is that you essentially teach women how to create financial freedom for themselves.
Yeah, I think that's probably the end result. The challenge for the women that I work with is because they're meaning-driven, they're not motivated by money.
Right.
So they really have to do a lot of deep, meaningful work
right.
to figure out what it is that will motivate them. And they understand, though, they're smart and savvy. They know that they need financial resources to be able to make the kind of contribution to the world that they dream of.
Exactly. And we're going to get deep into that because that's what I was thinking, too, about the contribution you can make to the world when you do have that financial freedom, because it's all connected together. But let's just kind of give our listeners a little bit of background on you as far as like where you're from, where you live, what you do, you know, as far as like the fun part. And then let's get into this Meaning Maker movement, and I want to know how you came up with that name. So let our listeners know a little bit about you.
So I'm from Toronto originally, and I now live in Knoxville, Tennessee. And the work that I do has been really fortunate for me. It actually allowed me to move from Toronto to Knoxville to be here with my partner. He had a home here. His work was really centralized to this part of the country. And so my business allowed me to move legally and live and work in the States, which was really nice because we weren't sure we wanted to get married. Right. And because my work is virtual, I work with women all around the world. So it was nice that I was able to take that and shift it from one country to the next.
That's really that's amazing.
That is amazing. For this, for me, was that I was recovering from cancer and realized that I really needed to get control of my finances because money was the real obstacle that was keeping me stuck in Toronto and my partner here in Tennessee.
Right.
And so my business was actually born out of my desire to create financial freedom for myself so that we could actually have our life together.
That is so amazing, and I think that's the thing that really attracted me to want to share what you do with our listeners is because when I started looking at that word financial freedom, the thing that stuck on me was, wait a minute, she's talking my language, because I know that when you have that financial freedom, there's so many contributions you can make to the world, not just in your own community, but the entire world. So that, I'll tell you, that's one of the things that when I was reading about you, that's the thing that really stuck on me. And I thought to myself, there's other people that need to know that this, one, is possible, two, it's amazing, and here are the things that it can make it happen. So I really love that story about being able to have the freedom in your business to say, hey, I'm going to move to Tennessee, because, you know, if you were working a traditional 9-to-5, that would have played out a little bit different, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Why do you think so many people have difficulty with making money, or I like to say earning money? Why do you think they have so many issues with that? Because I run across it a lot, and obviously you do too.
think collectively the big challenge we have is that we've put our power outside ourselves, and we've put a lot of it onto money. We blame money for a lot of things in our life. We say that money's the reason that we're fighting wars. Money's the reason politics are a mess. Money is the reason why half the world's starving and the other half is living in luxury or whatever. Money gets blamed for a lot of things. You see a couple divorce and everybody gets angry about the money. Children and alimony and all kinds of things, right? The problems always come back to money.
Right.
And inadvertently, as a collective, we've all kind of put all this anger and hatred and fear and resentment and judgment and criticism onto actual money. But money is really just energy. It's like the same energy as love, it's the same energy as joy or happiness.
Right.
It's something that's invisible that we have in this tangible form, but we mistake it for being the problem instead of recognizing that money itself is not the problem. Money's not the bad guy. It's what human beings do with money that's the problem.
There you go.
And so that's really the journey we all have to go on is, resolving, healing that relationship with money so that we can bring it effortlessly and easily into our lives and be able to circulate it into the world for the benefit of all.
Yes. Yes, I love that you said circulated. I get so excited when I get ready to pay bills. I'm like, yes, let's get the bills paid. Let's get that out of the way. I get excited when I go to like a flea market or a trade show or something. And I'm like, okay, today I'm going to do this. I'm going to bless somebody else's business. I love that word you just said, circulate. When you said it, I got like a little tingle like, oh, she's talking my language. I love that.
Yeah.
And you are so right. That power to be able to have that energy exchange with someone and be it through money. And hey, we're not trading donkeys or we're not trading animals, for goods anymore. Everything that we need is going to cost us money. So what are some of the tips that you share with your clients on here's how you can maybe create a better relationship with money? Because, people have heard the root of all evil is, money. And that's not even the way the passage goes. And people have heard, if you get too rich, the favorite one that I hear people say, filthy rich. And I always look at them and say, why does it have to be filthy? And they look at me strange then. So how do you get people to create a better relationship with money?
Well, I think the first thing that we all have to do is start to become much more conscious of the relationship that we have with money right now. And oftentimes the relationship that we have with money right now, it's not even really our own relationship. It's a relationship that we saw playing out around us, either, in the community or the culture that we grew up in our family of origin. It might have been something that we experienced in, if we were married and divorced. And so we have to take ownership for our relationship with money, first of all. So that means like recognizing where are you playing out stories that belong to other people and taking responsibility for things that are not yours to take responsibility for. And the second is to recognize, what kind of relationship do you want to have with money? Because if you ask anyone, they always say, sure, more money would be great.
Right.
So, if you want to have a positive relationship with money, just like having a relationship with a human being, you have to work at it.
That's right.
You've got to decide, what do I want this relationship to look like? And you've got to get clear about who you're actually being in the relationship and start noticing, well, what am I contributing to it? And sort of a funny thing that I tell clients to do sometimes if they're coming up against a lot of like fear around money or they've got a lot of anger, I tell them to put money in every room in their house, even in their car, every bag that they have. Every time they see money, to consciously have the relationship with it that they want to have. So just in the same way I might talk to my plants when I'm watering them, they go around the room and they talk to the money.
Right.
Money, great to see you. Thanks for following me everywhere you go.
Yes.
And eventually, over time, that actually does start to shift our relationship to money, and it makes us much more receptive and open to receiving the money.
That's
which
right.
is the first sort of critical step that we have to overcome.
Right. That is so true. You are so right. People laugh at me because I've been talking to my money for decades, and I've had people around me and see me do it, and they're just like, "You're really weird." I mean, even I've got my bankers trained. When I go to the bank, if I'm receiving money, and I have bankers that know me, they know, okay, she likes her money from the largest to the smallest. That's how she likes to have it. I mean, they just kind of know me, and that's why I've made such great relationships with my bankers, because I kind of just want them to just know that, like, I know things about you. I want you to know things about me and what I like and what I don't. Do you find that people resist wanting to talk to money?
Yeah, I mean, I guess initially a lot of people, they're not even conscious of the fact that they're angry or they're afraid.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just really in all kinds of habits of denial and avoidance in their life. Like the people who a bill comes in, and even if they have the money to pay it, they're afraid to let go of the money they actually have, so they just don't pay the bill. It just gets stuffed in a drawer.
Mm-hmm.
Or when they are dealing with paying bills and stuff, it's a stressful experience, and they're kind of half-assing it, and they're not the kind of person who's aware of how much money they have and which bank account. So avoidance, I guess, is the way resistance shows up.
Yeah, that's very interesting. What do you think is the most common reason that people fail to make the meaningful contribution to the world on a massive scale that they dream of? Because that's a big step. It's more than just saying, I'm going to do that. I know I've had clients that say, you know what, I want to be a millionaire. And I'm like, that is so amazing. I remember when I said I wanted to be a millionaire. So what are the things, and I'll have them show me where you've written down the steps on how you're going to get there. And they look like, well, what do you mean? Like, no. If you're going to be a millionaire and you really believe that, there has to be a step. It's like me getting in my car and deciding I'm going to come to Knoxville to visit you, but I don't have my GPS. I'm probably not going to make it.
Yeah.
So what is the
So I think the biggest challenge for people is that they have these dreams that they're carrying around inside them. And I say that our dreams and desires are gifts from the universe. So it's like these are gifts that have been given to you by the divine or God, by whatever name you want to call it.
Right.
And our sole purpose is to realize those, because the universe gets to experience that joy and fulfillment and pleasure through us when we actually make those contributions to the world. So the challenge is that a lot of the time we're either immediately discouraged by the amount of work that we think is going to be involved in realizing that goal, because we're so set on thinking that I have to do this all on my own, forgetting that, hey, wait a second, this is a gift from the divine. You're not in this alone.
Right.
You're going to be supported the entire way. Your job is to just stay connected,
to
that higher power. And the other thing is, so in that case, most people don't get started at all. They just give up before they even start because it's too much work.
Yeah, seems
the
like too
other
much.
scenario is that people get started, but they get fixated on the how-tos, the strategies, the tactics, which are absolutely necessary, but which come effortlessly and easily when you stay connected to that higher power and you follow the soul's voice that's sort of guiding us at all times. Meet the right people, the right opportunity, the right circumstances and experiences that we need in order to become the person who's capable of realizing that dream.
Right.
So every time we're given a dream, the sole purpose is for us to learn how to become the person who's capable of realizing it, because the universe wants to see us grow, wants to see us learn, evolve, and really tap into our full potential.
Wow. And that I'm sure that takes a lot of work for people to even realize that. Are there some particular steps that you have to actually get them to go through to get to the point to even start to see that part of it? Because that takes work. That takes a whole mind shift.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've created in my work is what I call the dream journey process. And I created this when I went from, prior to having cancer, I had taught yoga for 15 years, and I had always struggled to make a living. I was lucky to make $20,000 a year. And when I came out of that treatment and recovery period, which ended up being much longer than I had anticipated, and I realized I really needed to do something about this financial situation, I set the goal that I was going to earn, or wanted to learn how to earn $20,000 in a month instead of in a year. And I had no idea how to do it, and I had no reason to think that I even could, because I didn't know anyone who'd ever done it before.
Right.
But 6 weeks after I set that goal, I brought in $17,000 in 4 days.
Wow.
And from there, my business grew. And in less than 9 months, I was at 6 figures. Within a year, I'd gotten a visa, and I moved to Tennessee to be with my partner.
Now, let me ask
so
you.
After that experience, I thought, well, okay, my life radically changed in a very short period of time. And I was on welfare and recovering from cancer when I made the decision to change my life.
Right.
So if I could do that, everybody else must be capable of doing the same. So what did I actually do? And I went back and I mapped out what I now call the Dream Journey process, which is a 4-stage process that has predictable and inevitable steps that each of us has to go through, stages of growth and development, regardless of what the dream or desire is. So it could be losing 10 pounds, it could be making $1 million, it doesn't matter.
Right, right.
And the very first step is you have to know what you want and why you want it.
Yeah.
And the why is the why is sort of like the linchpin for the women that I work with, because for them, they could come to me and say, well, I want to earn $20,000 a month. But if they don't know why they want that, like for me, I knew exactly why. I wanted to move to Tennessee to be with my partner.
Yes, yes.
But if they don't know why they want that money, they won't be able to successfully complete that journey. And they'll end up in the 4th stage of the process, which is where they have to do all that deep inner work around their mindset and what they think is possible to become the person who's actually capable of realizing that dream or that goal.
Wow. Yeah, again, I love that you've got a process for them. So let me ask you, when you met that goal, besides knowing what the why was and that the end result was that's going to get you to Tennessee, did you do any little personal reward for yourself? Because I find that if I complete a goal or whatever, I like to reward myself. Did you reward yourself besides with the move? Did you reward yourself in some kind of way, just a little personal nugget for yourself?
I did actually. Early on in my business, I had a photograph of a leather bag that I'd been carrying around in my purse, in my wallet, for like 3 years, I think. And it was like a $300 leather bag, and I loved it. And I always kind of imagined that one day I'd be the kind of woman who would buy that $300 leather bag. And of course, living on $20,000 a year as a yoga teacher, I wasn't spending that kind of money on any kind of my clothing.
Right.
A lot of the things I was doing was, I'll go find a sale over here. And I did what I call cutting off pieces of my desire. Instead of expanding my capacity to earn more so I could have everything I wanted, I just made my desire smaller.
Okay.
And so when I started making money, I went to the store and I bought that bag. And
yay!
It still makes me happy.
Yeah. I find that when we celebrate, as we get, through those milestones, or we complete those goals, or, whatever's on our vision board can now come off because we've completed it. I just find that celebration, and it doesn't matter what it is. It can be anything you desire. So I love that you had something that you could say, you know what, this thing right here will now be mine because I put in the work to do this, 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 and this. So congratulations on that. I know that was really wonderful.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, and still today, when I look at it, every time I look at it, it makes me happy.
Exactly.
I see myself as the woman who I wanted to be. I know I became her. Right.
Man, that makes me so happy. And what it reminds me of is I remember for about 3 years, I wanted a little Mini Cooper. I'd seen a movie with a bunch of Mini Coopers in it, and I said, oh man, I got to have that little car just for me, just for mom. I'm a mom, I have 4 kids, and I always had, an SUV or something. I said, but mom needs something just for her because, hey, I work hard, I do what I need to do. And so I found a fantastic contract I could work with, doing some teaching principles that I do. And I said, you know what, here's the car. Put it on the vision board. Here's the cost of the car. I am going to buy that car, but I'm not going to buy it until I pay cash for it because I don't want to create another bill. So I worked that one contract for about 3 months. I went and I paid cash for that car, and that was like my celebration of, okay, I did this work for this particular thing. So getting back to what you said a little bit ago about the why, my why was, why am I going to go after this particular contract and do this particular work for this particular amount of money? And in that money is a portion for me to buy this thing that's on my vision board. So I get it, what you're saying. And I hope that our listeners, I hope that they understand that what you're saying is that why, if you have that why in mind, that will motivate you to get to the end result of what it is that you're looking for. So I hope that the listeners are are definitely understanding that. And again, our listeners, we have Siobhan MCAULEY. I'm going to spell her name for you. It's Siobhan, and then it's MCAULEY at the end. She is going to tell you where you can find her, but I just wanted to make sure you understood who we were speaking with. And I really want to get into also, what's the most important lesson that meaning-driven women need, or people in general need to learn before they can make their big dreams a reality? Do you have them to possibly put it before them? Do you have them? I love the thing about the money in every room. That's really awesome. I love the talking to the money. I love that exercise. What are some of the other things that you have them to do so that they know without a doubt when they wake up in the morning, this dream is a reality in the future? Without a doubt, before they go to bed at night, that thing is a reality. What are some other things you do with them to start to shift their mind to that particular thing?
Well, I'm a big fan of using writing prompts. And so I give them timed writing exercises, or some clients will do this on a daily basis, first thing in the morning or at the end of the day. And they sit and write for 10, 15, 20 minutes with a timer on. And the prompt is, what's most meaningful to me is. And the idea is to just keep stream of consciousness writing with that prompt, what's most meaningful to me is, so that they can really start to clearly identify the things that matter most to them. Because when they have a clear picture of what it is that's really meaningful to them, they're easily able to then do the strategic work of saying, okay, if it's most meaningful for me to resolve this particular issue in my community, and this is how much money it's going to cost, then these are the number of units at such and such a number that I need to generate in order to raise the money to solve that problem.
There you go. There you go. Do you find that, and I already know the answer to this, but I want to know from you, do you find that when you teach these principles to your clients that it shifts the whole family?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, a big part of the claiming one's power, mastering one's power, it's oftentimes the reason we don't have any power around money, or feel like we don't have power around money, is because we're giving all our power away to our relationships.
Right.
And we're not even aware that we're doing that. You know, we're giving it away to our clients, we're giving it away to our family, we're giving it away to our past. All kinds of things can sort of do what I call leak our energy. And then when we need that energy to mobilize it, to generate the resources required to realize that dream, it's just not there for us because it's fittered away in other areas of our lives. So for sure, when we start to reclaim our personal power, it automatically causes a shift in every other area of our life.
Right, and then that also kicks off what I call that domino effect, where when you can affect your own family, then your family then can take those gifts out into the world and then take that out. How did you come up with the name of your company?
Well, my company is actually called Stirring the Soul, and the Meaning Maker movement is what arose when I was working with my clients, and I thought, oh man, like the most valuable thing I can do is teach other women how to monetize their skills, knowledge, and experience so they can break out of this selling their time for money trap
Right.
that I was in for so long. And I thought, wow, this is powerful. But it didn't work for every woman. Some women did exactly what I did. They had a goal, they hit it instantly. Like within weeks, they were doubling, tripling, 10 times in their income. But others would just kind of, it was like sort of a failure to start. Every time they went to take action on something, something would derail them and they just couldn't move forward.
Right.
And that's what sent me back to develop the process and figure out, you know, what's the difference between these two different people? How come sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't? And what I realized, it's not the difference in the type of person, it's the difference in where we are in our growth cycle. And the reason growth happens differently for a meaning maker is because they have to know what the meaning is behind everything that they're doing, like virtually everything in their life. They have to be super clear about why they're doing it, why it holds meaning for them. Otherwise, they'll never be able to claim the power that is required to generate the resources to realize those dreams, because money's just not the motivator for them.
Right.
And I actually think all human beings are meaning makers. It's just a degree of conscious awareness around, you know, how much you can tolerate not moving towards what's most meaningful for you.
Wow, that's amazing. So what I want to know, as we begin to wrap up a little bit here, I want to know, what is it that's stuck on you that makes you who you are, makes you do what you do, makes you have the passion to want to reach out and help other women or clients? What is it that's stuck on you in life that says, this is what I'm supposed to be doing?
I guess, like, the whole time I was teaching yoga, I just always felt like I was trying to communicate a much bigger message than the people coming into classes could really hear. It was like, in the yoga industry, it's not about work with the person who specifically wants the thing that you have to offer. It's about, oh, this class is available at this time close to me. Here, take my money, I'll come in once. And, of course, the whole function of spiritual practice is it only works if you do it consistently. So there's no point in going to yoga once. You have to do yoga every day to get the benefit. And so, for me, it felt like there's always a bigger picture. Doesn't matter if I'm teaching yoga or what I'm doing now, there's always a bigger picture that I'm pointing to for people. And that's sort of my fierce belief in a relationship with a power greater than ourselves.
Wow. I love that you said creating a bigger message, because, sometimes you have this feeling inside of you like there's just something else I'm supposed to be putting out there. So I like that you said that, because that just kind of made me think about just knowing that's within us. Now, I got a question for you, and I want you to think about it and see how you'd like to share this. But tell our listeners one thing about you that you want to share that we could not Google.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, I know. I love that question, because you're like, I've already put it all out there. But there are things, like I've heard people say they don't know I'm an excellent cook. They don't know, I've got 24 dogs. They don't know that, I live in 7 different, states or whatever. So what's that one thing, if we typed in your name, we wouldn't be able to find on Google?
Well, you'd have to do a deeper search than Google. But I guess, there's 2 things that sort of come to mind. A lot of those things that you mentioned are things that actually are Googleable.
Yeah.
But one of them is I've had stitches in my tongue twice, which is kind of an odd thing for any human being.
And wait a minute, you said twice. So once is odd, twice is like, is this on purpose? Okay, tell us about that then.
It's like the person who gets hit by lightning more than once.
I know, you start to move away from them.
Well, the first time happened when I was about 4 years old. I was bouncing on the bed with my sister, and I fell on the floor, and my tongue was hanging out of my mouth, and I ended up getting 20 stitches across my tongue and transfusions, and it was pretty traumatic. And then the next time, I only had about 4 or 5 stitches, and I was playing soccer. I was in grade school, and I hit the ball with my head, and somebody came up to hit the ball with their head, and they came up under my chin. Sort of bit the edge of my tongue. But when I was a kid in school, my brother and sister used to drag me around like I was a freak show or something, and have stick my tongue out to show everyone the scar that was on the back of my tongue from the first time I did it.
Oh, that brotherly love. Hey, stick your tongue out. No, look, guys, look at this. I bet that was hilarious. Oh, man, I love that you shared that. Now, see, that's not something that, people probably would be able to Google unless they went so deep into the, universe of the internet, Wow, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. And I'm visualizing it as you're saying it, and I'm going, ooh, that must have hurt. Or, especially at 4 years old, I know that was something very painful. Let our listeners know where they can find you. If you've got any books, or if you've got any products, or you've got boot camps or anything, share with our listeners how they can find you, 1, and 2, any type of thing that would be able to help them, a product or a service.
So the best place to find me probably is on Facebook. And on Facebook, there's a couple places. You can go to my personal profile, which is just Siobhan MCAULEY. You can go to my business page, which says Siobhan MCAULEY as well. And our private Facebook community is called the Meaning Maker Movement.
Yes.
I'm in there every day.
I've been enjoying it since I signed up a couple of days ago. I've been enjoying it.
Yeah. And I guess the current things going on with my business, I'm just about to launch the Dream Journey Mastermind, which is a 6-month mastermind for just 12 women.
Wonderful.
That starts on Monday, May 15th, and I'm currently in the process of interviewing candidates for that. So that's a big sort of a flagship offering. It's the first time we're running it, but it will be sort of something that will happen for years to come. It's sort of my dream offer finally coming together to bring 12 women in for a deep journey process.
Wow. And then will it recur after one ends, then you'll take a break, and then there will be another one that will start?
Yeah, I think for now we'll probably just be running it once a year, because next year I'll be launching Dream Journey School, which is a 9-month certification program to teach people the deeper practices of the Dream Journey process so that they can take that into their lives, add it to their toolkit if they're a teacher or healer, bring it into a workplace. It's a great tool to work with groups and dynamics, sort of team dynamics. So that'll be keeping me busy next year. So I think just once a year right now for the mastermind.
Wow. Well, I have to tell you, congratulations, not only on the work that you've done for yourself and on yourself, but I want to just personally thank you for doing the work and helping those others that you've been able to help. Because, as entrepreneurs and just people who want to kind of get it together and, like you said, bring a bigger meaning into the world, I just want to personally, from one entrepreneur to the next, to just say thank you for the work that you do and for sharing, your experience. That's going to help so many people, and that has helped so many people. So from me to you, I want to say thank you. And thank you for being my guest today on Stuck on Miss Dawn. I really appreciate having you here. When I find somebody that really connects to what I like to hear and someone who really connects to my spirit, I love to get them on, because I want to share them with other people, because I feel like since my listeners are trusting me to say she's bringing on great quality people, and when I find people, I'm like, wait a minute, I got to share them with the audience. So Siobhan, thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Dawn. Happy to share my experience with your audience.
Fantastic. And for our listeners, thank you so much for listening to Stuck on Miss Dawn. Thank you for listening to Siobhan MCAULEY. I hope that you will take advantage of not just her upcoming offerings that she has, but look into that school that she's going to be having on next year as well.